This is not an environment where you want more deficit spending. I think the government has to be very careful. I think there's a strong sense now that we overstimulated the economy in 2020 and 21 with large fiscal supports and keeping interest rates very low. I think the governor of the Bank of Canada now is committed to raising those policy rates, which is going to put a squeeze on consumers. I think the same way we have to be very careful that we hold the line on that budgetary balance. The deficit is falling and needs to continue to fall. And nobody really wants to raise taxes in this environment. But if we're going to see like 2% GDP numbers for national defense, we're talking about a $10 billion plus increase in spending over the next number of years. Additional spending for pharmacare programs could be in a similar nature, an additional $10 billion a year. We're a $2.5 trillion economy. There's a limit to how much additional spending you can do. So, yeah, I think, again, it's really planning for the long term. I don't think we're ready to launch dental care. I don't think we're ready to launch pharmacare. I think it's going to take us a few years anyways, to get to 2% with national defense spending as well relative to GDP. Yeah. So will it fuel inflation? Yeah. If it is deficit financed, it's like consumers using their credit card. It will definitely it'll be added stimulus to the economy which is probably, it's not the thing to do when you're running inflation rates right now that are about 5.5% on a year-over-year basis, probably headed for something closer to 10%. Over the next 3 to 6 months. So yeah, I think they have to be, very careful about how they finance these things. If there's plans laid out to move forward on some of these big ticket items, say pharmacare, like how are we going to increase taxes to pay for that? Will it be increases in consumption taxes or income taxes? These are considerations. We're going to get announcements, but I don't think we're going to see immediate fiscal stimulus in the next year. We're already actually too much stimulus, to be honest, with respect to deficits. I think two big dimensions to this budget. One is that macro fiscal environment and getting it right with respect to getting the right fiscal stance for the Canadian economy so it doesn't overheat the economy, doesn't create higher inflation. I think the second one is really putting policy measures in place that really enhance confidence and trust, so that yes, we can move forward on these priorities on increasing national defense spending. We'll have real discussions about implementing pharmacare, dental care, other programs, but this will be done in a very fiscally responsible manner. So it'll be done over years. It won't be, we won't be able to really launch forward with these programs in the next year or two because of this environment. So we don't want to make a policy mistake. We made policy mistakes in the 1970s when we continued to run large structural deficits. We contributed to inflation, and we had to, governor of the Bank of Canada, the Federal Reserve banks around the world, really central banks around the world, had to dramatically increase interest rates in order to deal with inflation. I think we don't want to relive that experience. We need to learn from that experience.